Ladies and gentlemen, discipline is often misunderstood. People think of it as a rigid, joyless system of rules that limits their freedom, but in reality, the opposite is true. Discipline is the very thing that grants you the freedom to live life on your own terms. Without it, you become a slave to distractions, emotions, and short-term pleasures that pull you away from your true potential. Imagine wanting to build a successful career, get in shape, or improve your mindset. But every day, you're battling procrastination, lack of motivation, and inconsistency. That's what happens when discipline is missing. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's their ability to remain disciplined no matter what. Think about the most successful people in any field. They didn't get there by accident. They followed a path of structured habits, relentless focus, and a commitment to showing up daily, even when they didn't feel like it. Feelings are temporary, but discipline is a decision you make every day. It's about understanding that you don't have to be in the mood to take action, you just have to take action. This shift in mindset is what separates those who make progress from those who stay stuck. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, endless entertainment, and instant gratification make it harder than ever to stay focused. But if you allow yourself to be controlled by these distractions, you're handing over your future to things that don't serve you. Discipline is what gives you control back. It allows you to break free from the cycle of wasted time and regret. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're reinforcing the identity of someone who is in charge of their own life. And that identity, once built, makes discipline a natural part of who you are. But here's the truth. Discipline isn't something you're born with. No one wakes up one day suddenly disciplined for life. It's a skill, and like any skill, it must be developed. The key is to start small and remain consistent. You don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start by setting one simple, non-negotiable habit, whether it's waking up early, exercising daily, or working on a personal goal for 30 minutes a day. The power of discipline comes from repetition. The more you prove to yourself that you can stick to something, the stronger your self-discipline muscle becomes. Most people think they need motivation to stay disciplined, but that's a mistake. Motivation is unreliable, it comes and goes. Discipline is what keeps you moving, even when motivation disappears. Think of it like going to the gym. You may not always feel like working out, but if you're disciplined, you'll do it anyway, because you know the long-term reward is worth the short-term discomfort. That's how every area of life works. The ability to push through resistance, to show up even when you don't feel like it, is what creates success. There will be days when you fail, when you slip, when you don't follow through. That's normal. The key isn't to be perfect, the key is to never let failure turn into a habit. If you fall off track, you don't wait until next week or next month to start again, you reset immediately. Discipline isn't about never messing up, it's about refusing to let a mistake define you. Every day is a new chance to reinforce the habits that will shape your future. You have to ask yourself, who do you want to become? Do you want to be someone who is controlled by impulses, distractions, and excuses? Or do you want to be someone who has the power to shape their own destiny? The answer lies in discipline. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. And once you embrace it, you'll realize it was the key to everything you ever wanted. Everything begins in the mind. The way you think about discipline determines whether you master it or struggle with it for the rest of your life. Most people see discipline as a burden, something difficult that takes away their freedom. That mindset alone keeps them stuck. If you believe discipline is hard, exhausting, and something you'll never sustain, your actions will reflect that. But if you shift your mindset, if you start seeing discipline as a tool that empowers you, strengthens you, and builds your best life, everything changes. The problem is that people wait until they feel ready before they take action. They wait for motivation to hit, for the perfect moment, for circumstances to align, but that moment rarely comes. If you let your emotions dictate your actions, you will always struggle with consistency. Discipline isn't about how you feel, it's about what you decide. The most disciplined people in the world don't always feel like doing the work, but they do it anyway, because they understand a simple truth. Their feelings are temporary, but their actions create their future. This is why you must train your mind to think differently. Instead of saying, "I'll try to be disciplined," say, "I will be disciplined." That single shift in language matters more than you think. "I'll try" gives you an escape route. It allows you to quit when things get hard. but I will locks in the decision. It removes the option of failure. It turns discipline into something you embody, not something you attempt. This is the kind of mindset that transforms ordinary people into unstoppable forces. When you develop discipline at a mental level, your daily decisions become easier. You no longer negotiate with yourself about whether you should do something, you just do it. There's no debate, no hesitation. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't wake up wondering if you're in the mood to brush your teeth. You just do it because it's a habita, non-negotiable part of your life. That's how discipline should feel in every area that matters to you. The moment you stop giving yourself the option to skip, to delay, to make excuses, you free yourself from inconsistency. But mastering your mind isn't just about commitment, it's also about controlling the thoughts that hold you back. Your mind is powerful, but it can also be your greatest enemy if you allow negative beliefs to take control. Every time you tell yourself, I can't stay consistent, I'm just not a disciplined person, or I always mess up, you reinforce that identity. Your brain listens to what you repeatedly say. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, your actions will always match that belief. That's why you must change the narrative. Instead of reinforcing weakness, start reinforcing strength. Tell yourself, I am disciplined, I show up no matter what. I follow through even when it's hard. You don't have to believe it fully at first, but if you say it and act on it daily, it will become your reality. Another important shift is understanding that discipline isn't punishment. Too many people associate it with suffering. But real discipline is about self-respect. It's about valuing your future enough to make the right decisions today. Think about it. Every time you choose discipline, you're choosing to invest in yourself. You're choosing long-term success over short-term comfort. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. At the end of the day, discipline is a mental game. It's not about willpower, it's about identity. The moment you start seeing yourself as a disciplined person, you will act like one. And when you act like one, results follow. So decide today, no more waiting, no more excuses. Train your mind, commit fully, and watch how discipline transforms every aspect of your life. Discipline isn't built in a single moment of inspiration. It's built through repetition, through the small, consistent actions you take every single day. The mistake most people make is believing they need massive willpower or a complete life overhaul to become disciplined. That's why they start strong but give up after a few days or weeks. The truth is, discipline isn't about doing something extreme for a short period. It's about creating a system or routine that removes the need for motivation and makes discipline automatic. Think about the things you already do without effort. Brushing your teeth, getting dressed, locking your door before leaving the house. You don't struggle to stay consistent with these habits because they are part of your routine. That's exactly how discipline should feel in every important area of your life. You don't need to wake up every morning debating whether you'll work on your goals. You should wake up, follow a structured routine, and let discipline take care of itself. It starts with building small, unshakable habits. Most people fail at discipline because they try to do too much at once. They decide to wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for 2 hours, read 50 pages, work on their business, meditate, and cut out all distractions. Unsustainable. Instead, the key is to start with just 1 or 2 powerful habits and master them. Wake up at the same time every day, spend 10 minutes improving yourself, and commit to a single non-negotiable task that moves you forward. Once these habits become second nature, you add more. This is how discipline is built, not through force, but through smart, sustainable routines. The real challenge is not just starting a routine, but sticking to it. The biggest reason people quit is because they rely too much on feelings. They start a new routine when they feel inspired, but the moment the excitement wears off, they slip back into old habits. That's why it's crucial to remove emotions from the equation. Your routine should not be something you do only when you feel like it. It should be something you do no matter what. Whether you're tired, unmotivated, or distracted, your routine should remain the same. One of the most effective ways to solidify a routine is to attach new habits to existing ones. This is called habit stacking. If you already drink coffee every morning, use that time to read a few pages of a book. If you check your phone first thing in the morning, replace it with writing down your top 3 priorities for the day. By linking new habits to things you already do, discipline becomes easier because it doesn't feel like you're adding extra effort. It just becomes part of your normal routine. Another critical factor in maintaining discipline is making it easy to succeed. Too many people make discipline harder than it needs to be. If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before. If you want to read more, keep a book next to your bed. If you want to eliminate distractions, design your environment to support your habits instead of working against them. There will be days when you miss a habit, when life gets in the way, or when you fall off track. That's normal. But the key is to never let a missed day turn into a missed week. The longer you wait to get back on track, the harder it becomes. When you slip, you don't punish yourself, you simply reset and continue. That's the mindset that separates people who build lasting discipline from those who give up. Once you build unshakable routines, discipline stops feeling like a struggle. It becomes second nature. And when that happens, success is no longer a matter of if, it's only a matter of time. Excuses are the greatest enemy of discipline. They disguise themselves as logical reasons, convincing you that skipping a task, delaying your progress, or taking the easy route is justified. But every excuse you accept is a step further from the person you're trying to become. The truth is, discipline and excuses cannot exist in the same space. If you want to build unshakable discipline, you must eliminate excuses and the weaknesses that allow them to grow. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with discipline is that they let their emotions dictate their actions. They say, "I don't feel like it today," as if that's a valid reason to stop. But discipline isn't about how you feel, it's about what you do. The most disciplined people in the world don't wake up every day feeling unstoppable. They wake up and take action despite their emotions. The moment you stop negotiating with yourself, the moment you stop making room for excuses, discipline becomes much easier. The first step to eliminating excuses is to recognize them for what they are: lies that keep you stuck. "I don't have time" is one of the most common ones, but it's never really about time. Everyone has the same 24 hours. Yet some people use them wisely while others waste them. The problem isn't a lack of time, it's a lack of priority. If something truly matters to you, you make time for it. The real question is, are you willing to sacrifice comfort, distractions, and temporary pleasures for long-term success? If the answer is yes, then it's time to take full responsibility for your actions. Another excuse that destroys discipline is, "I'm too tired." Of course, exhaustion is real, but most of the time, this excuse isn't about physical tiredness, it's about mental resistance. The brain prefers comfort, and when faced with a challenging task, it looks for a way out. That's why you have to push past that initial resistance. The funny thing is, once you start, the feeling of exhaustion often disappears. The hardest part is taking the first step. But unsee you though, momentum carries you forward. Discipline also requires eliminating the weaknesses that trigger excuses. If your phone is the first thing you check in the morning and it keeps you distracted for an hour, that's a weakness. If junk food is always within reach and ruins your diet, that's a weakness. If you keep toxic people in your life who pull you away from your goals, that's a weakness. Weaknesses don't go away on their own, you have to actively remove them. If something is making discipline harder, fix it. Create an environment that supports your success rather than sabotages it. Another common weakness is inconsistency. Many people start strong, but the moment they hit an obstacle, they slow down or quit. This happens because they haven't fully committed. When something is a true priority, you don't stop just because it's inconvenient. If you had an important flight to catch, you wouldn't skip it because you were tired. You wouldn't say, "I don't feel like going." You would get up and go because it's non-negotiable. That's how you need to treat your goals. Discipline isn't something you do only when it's easy. It's something you do no matter what. At the end of the day, eliminating excuses and weaknesses comes down to one thing: taking ownership. You are responsible for your actions, your progress, and your results. No one else is coming to push you, to force you to stay disciplined, or to remove distractions for you. That's your job. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you gain control over your life. Discipline isn't about waiting for the perfect conditions, it's about creating them. And once you do, you'll realize that nothing was truly holding you back except the excuses you once believed. Pain and pleasure are the two forces that drive every decision you make. Every action, every habit, every choice comes down to avoiding pain or seeking pleasure. The problem is that most people use this system against themselves without realizing it. They associate pain with discipline and pleasure with comfort, so they naturally avoid the very actions that would transform their lives. If you want to develop unshakable discipline, you have to rewire this connection. You have to make discipline something you crave, something you run toward, while making laziness and inaction something you can't tolerate. The reason people struggle with discipline is that they focus too much on the short-term discomfort of taking action rather than the long-term pain of staying the same. Think about it. When you skip a workout, you don't feel the consequences immediately. When you procrastinate on your goals, nothing bad happens in that exact moment. But over time, these choices add up, leading to regret, stagnation, and lost potential. On the other hand, when you choose discipline, the rewards aren't always instant, but they are inevitable. The key is to start linking pain to inaction and pleasure to progress. Imagine two versions of yourself, one who stays disciplined and one who doesn't. The disciplined version of you is stronger, more successful, and in full control of life. The undisciplined version is stuck, constantly frustrated, wondering why nothing ever changes. Which version do you want to become? The more vividly you imagine the pain of staying the same, the more unbearable it becomes. Let that drive you. Let that vision push you to take action, even when you don't feel like it. But discipline isn't just about avoiding pain, it's also about chasing pleasure. Most people think of discipline as suffering, but that's because they don't focus on the rewards. Every disciplined action leads to a result that makes your life better: the pleasure of being in great shape, the pride of accomplishing your goals, the freedom that comes from mastering your time. These are the things you should focus on. When you shift your mindset to see discipline as the gateway to everything you desire, it stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like an opportunity. One of the best ways to reinforce this mindset is through immediate rewards. While long-term success is the goal, your brain responds better to short-term reinforcement. Find small ways to reward yourself for disciplined behavior. Celebrate your wins, track your progress, and recognize the effort you put in. When you see the benefits of discipline in real time, your brain starts craving more of it. The mistake people make is waiting until they reach a huge milestone before feeling good about their progress. But progress is built one disciplined action at a time, and every step forward deserves recognition. Another important factor is emotional intensity. If you want to change your behavior, you have to feel it deeply. Just thinking about your goals isn't enough. You have to make them real in your mind. Picture your dream life with full clarity. Feel the pride, the confidence, the power of being in total control. Then picture the opposite. Imagine staying exactly where you are, stuck in the same patterns, feeling the frustration of wasted time. The stronger you make these emotions, the easier it becomes to choose discipline every single day. At the end of the day, discipline is a game of association. If you associate it with pain, you'll avoid it. If you associate it with power, freedom, and success, you'll embrace it. The choice is yours. Change how you see discipline, and you'll change your entire life. The final and most important step in mastering discipline is persistence. No matter how strong your mindset is, no matter how well structured your routines are, and no matter how deeply you eliminate excuse, none of it will matter if you don't stay committed in the long run. The reason most people fail isn't that they lack the ability, it's that they quit too soon. They expect discipline to work like a switch, something they turn on once and never have to worry about again. But discipline isn't a single decision. It's a lifetime commitment. It's something you reinforce daily, especially when it gets hard. The reality is, setbacks will happen. You will have days when you don't feel like following through. You will have moments when your progress seems slow, when results don't come as fast as you hoped, and when the temptation to give up feels overwhelming. This is the breaking point where most people fail. They assume that because they missed a day, because they slipped up, because they didn't feel motivated, they've ruined everything. But discipline is not about being perfect, it's about always getting back on track no matter what. Think of discipline like a muscle. When you first start training, it feels difficult. You struggle with consistency, and the results are barely noticeable. But the more you train, the stronger you get. Over time, discipline becomes second nature. However, just like a muscle, if you stop using it, it weakens. That's why persistence is non-negotiable. You don't work on discipline for a few weeks and then expect it to last forever. You reinforce it every day, even when progress is slow, even when motivation fades, even when you face failure. You keep moving forward. One of the biggest mistakes people make is focusing too much on results and not enough on the process. When results don't show up as quickly as they want, they get discouraged. But true discipline is about commitment to the process, not just the outcome. If you only stay disciplined when things are going well, you'll never last. The real test is whether you can stay consistent, even when you don't see immediate rewards. Success is always a delayed reaction. The work you put in today might not pay off for weeks, months, or even years. But if you quit too soon, you never get to see what's possible. Another key to persistence is learning how to push through resistance. Every time you try to level up in life, you will face internal resistance, doubt, fear, fatigue, and even boredom. Most people see these as signs to stop, but they are actually signs that you are growing. The best way to overcome resistance is to take action immediately. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't sit around thinking about whether you should do it. Just start. The longer you hesitate, the stronger resistance becomes. But the moment you take action, the power shifts back to you. Accountability also plays a huge role in persistence. It's easy to make promises to yourself and then break them when no one is watching. That's why you need to create external accountability. Tell someone about your goals, track your progress publicly, or set deadlines that force you to follow through. The more accountability you have, the less likely you are to give in to excuses. At the end of the day, persistence is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. The disciplined life isn't built in a day. It's built in the moments when you choose to keep going, even when it's hard. If you commit to that, if you refuse to quit, if you show up every day no matter what, then nothing can stop you.